Hi, this is a spontaneous chat with Gordon Gobsmack, I call him again, and Angie here after a lovely day with Charmaine and Paul and my son and out in the garden, and Gordon's been out in the fields, but so we're just having a little touch base again. We don't know each other very well at all. I'm just getting to know a bit more about Gordon, but there's plenty that we've observed parallel over the years. So I just was mentioning we've got two subjects I want to cover, and this might be a brief, we probably won't go an hour, but the first subject I asked Gordon about was the thing about being scammed with Ponzi schemes. And I was talking about whether to go public on the person that recruited myself and one of my sons into a cryptocurrency club, where we weren't equipped to know how to draw down rewards. And then when we went to, the company kept collapsing and reforming under a different name. And then we haven't been able to withdraw our funds. And I have said I'm going to go ahead and expose this person who presented herself as an ex-police surgeon. They call it a medical doctor attached to the police force. This was how she introduced herself to me in 2015, and then currently says she's a consultant in a hospital over an addictions unit, and her duties include going into a prison, I don't know, once a week, prescribing for prisoners with addiction issues. It sounded all very plausible to me, but just with hindsight, I'm saying it's interesting that over 7 years cyber friendship, she never wanted to show her face, too bad. And she never gave me her address. She, I had a couple of 3-month stints offline, and she never wrote to me, and just a lot of red flags. So I was just kind of half wanting to give into my usual behavior, which is when somebody rips me off, I let it go. I just kind of rage and rant internally and then walk away. But this time I think I'm going to try and discipline myself to just go a little, just see if there's anybody else out there that is in the same position. And, just to find out who this woman is. Gordon seems to think I might have been fooled as to somebody being sent in with a fake backstory. And then you were going to talk about the Zim and other scams that went down in your experience, and the air hostess you were going to tell us a little bit.
Well, first of all, can I just say, Angela, and again, this is not pre-recorded, this is not pre-edited. You've met Sabine, you've met Brenda, you've been involved in a whole bunch of stuff right the way through the years. I am here tonight to tell you that you are a beautiful soul that is innocent of being taken advantage of, shall we say. I'm not going to use the AB word because that's a completely different sphere entirely, but you have been taken advantage of by a whole bunch of state apparatchiks and state media. I lived on Finchley Road, Hampstead. I can name you the addresses: Paul McGann, Joe McGann, McGann Brothers. I used to drink coffee with them on a certain cafe bar that's still there, West End Lane. I used to drive up and down West End Lane on a Sunday morning, dreaming on a Sunday afternoon, when I first came to London, because I came from Stornoway, and I thought, this is good. I'm driving up and down West End Lane, stoned out my tits. Ruth Ellis, the last woman killed, where she shot her boyfriend outside a pub. That's all on West End Lane. But anyway, yeah. With regards to this woman that can say she can go into fucking prisons and prescribe drugs for everybody, I would say that even CSI Gil Grissom and the top cop shows in America, yeah, they couldn't get away with that. So I would obviously say that I think she lied. And I do believe that she's lied. And it's like I said, I've met Belinda, I've met Sabine, I've met you. I think you were genuine. So
I think I've been a bit of a crocodile Dundee. But
yeah, well, yeah, you have, but you're sincere. You're a sincere bloody heart. You're true. Yeah. And this is what they do. This is why they send in the bloody shills and the fucking muppets. Drag away. Listen, have you ever caught lobsters, right? See, when you catch a whole bunch of lobsters in a bucket, doesn't matter the big beside the bucket. See, when one gets to the top, the other will fucking climb onto it and drag it back down into the bucket. That's what happens to truth tellers, realistically, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. But hey, if they've got a big following,
I've been decimated. I've been decimated online. It's maybe a bit masochistic for me to keep carrying on because
not really.
Well,
I got Phil McConnell. Yeah. I'm responsible for Phil McConnell. Phil McConnell, the biggest lying fuck up in the history of the internet. This is why everything that ever happened to Able Danger is gone, done, dusted. But if you go on and type Phil McConnell, Able Danger, and Gobsmack, you'll find one show from the 19th of the 1st, 2019. For some reason, Mossad, the establishment, have left that video up there. You'll find me there. That's a true story.
No, I did. I followed him and David Hawkins, and I know you featured a lot. I used to listen, and that's why I was surprised when that's who you turned out to be, because I just was kind of instinctively drawn to you, not knowing who you were or what your story was, So it's God moves in mysterious ways. And sometimes when I've been naive, I can't say I regret it, because my naivety gave me entrance into inner sanctums.
That's God giving you a high five.
Yeah, because I would literally
it's happened to me a million times over as well.
Yeah. And exactly. I stayed in Belinda's twice, once for 5 days and once for 2 days.
Up at the top of Islington, Highbury.
Yeah. And and I did start to feel like something's a bit off here, and I still have a soft spot for Sabine, even though there's evidence, linking the two of them to a lot of questionable, like having pedophiles in their inner circle.
Yeah.
And running a thing called options, not adoptions, something like that.
Hang on. Listen, guys, there's not enough light in the camera, but I looked at Sabine and Brenda in the eye, and they couldn't.
You mean Belinda? You mean Belinda?
Yeah, Belinda and Sabine.
And
I know Sabine, and I know a whole bunch of the rest of them, but let's not mention. Listen, we're talking about the fucking state apparatchik here.
Yeah, I don't want to be gossip, but I still.
No, we're not gossips. No. The one that you stayed with, if anybody goes and Googles this, you will find that there's been a whole bunch of other chewed up fodder, shall we say.
Yeah, and I was told that she was at one point number 3 in MI5.
When I met her, she couldn't even look at me in the eye. She was nobody in MI5. I went to MI6. Listen, Angela, do you want to hear a stupid story? This is, again, guys, this is a true story on behalf of God. I walked into Peter Hain's office. Peter Hain used to be the MP for Neath. I walked into his office one day with a hat and a big brown backpack. And I says to Peter Hain, "Hey, Peter, I'm a Muslim. Boom, you're dead." He shot himself. He got me an interview with MI6 within 2 weeks, and they did come and interview me. Unfortunately, they wouldn't agree to my pair terms, and the bastards didn't hire me. Even though I did tell them about a whole bunch of Islamic stuff to do with the 19 code based in the Quran that Saddam Hussein didn't know, and most of the fucking Muslims don't know about. We'll save that for a later story. And that's a true story. I asked them for a fucking decent paying job and an insurance policy in case I got killed so I could put my children through college. But they didn't come back to me. So go figure what the state thinks about that. But Peter Hain, he'll never.
How do you spell his last name? Is it Haines?
Yeah, Hain. He used to put, back in 1973, he was throwing tax out on the fucking rugby fields for fucking Google anti-apartheid. His mummy and daddy are Scottish.
Right.
Again, like I said, this is true. Yeah. If you want the dates and the times, Google me.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I just want to ask you, am I still in a bit of cognitive dissonance about Sabine? She's out of prison now. She's banned from England.
No,
she's living in
Angela. Listen. You Charmaine, and all the other good souls that listen to this channel that have been victim or survivor to any kind of malice, bad practice, then know that your soul is not responsible. Know that what you have done is God giving you insight to wake the fuck up and tell the truth about whatever's going to happen to you next, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Well, it's
taking a strength from that. That's what God does. He puts us through every single exercise for a different reason. Me, I was scum. I went to Borstal. I used to have to bounce beach balls. I used to have the buckets up and beat my hands with sticks. And anyway, that didn't happen. But yes, it fucking did. So
I fell for the Zim scam. I didn't fall too hard. I just bought some for, I don't know, 36 quid or something. But I fell for it. So what was your air hostess story, or have you moved on from that?
No. When the whole fucking Zim shit started, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Phil McConnell, what the fuck are you doing? Because Phil McConnell started out telling the truth.
Yeah, he did.
And then after fucking what in Wales, he went fucking completely doolally. He went off the fucking script. He went fucking nah. But you know why I know that happened? Is because I met a couple of Mormons from Utah.
Yeah.
And
you said that he got infiltrated. There was another theory that Annette was MI5. What do you think about that, Denise?
Angela, do you want me to tell you a true story again? And I can bring one of my oldest and bestest friends to family-owned Area 51. I mentioned to her before because she was a big part of Abel Danger. My daughter says to me, Dad, Phil McConnell, gatekeeper, Denise MI6. And that was the first night she heard the show. And I was back in 2013.
Wow.
But I didn't trust my daughter's intuition. I went for glory and look what happened. I closed down the whole fucking network.
Wow.
Because they killed Greg Hallett. Greg Hallett got shot to death in his fucking kitchen because of stuff that, hey, the state don't own your children, which they don't, by the way, but you don't go with guns to get them back. And Phil McConnell, lock and load. Phil McConnell was drawing swords. Phil McConnell was saying, yeah, use unnecessary force.
See, that's an American thing because
no, Angela, it's not. It's a universal thing. You don't kill anybody for anything because God says.
I agree, but Rupert Quaintance ended up in jail as well because he had that American mindset. Like his family are all gun carrying, it's part of their culture to be armed. So
Angela, it says in God's Bible, right? If anybody comes to take your life, you can do whatever you want. It's in the British Constitution, 1668, 1689 too. Okay, it's still there in the British Constitution. Although Tony Blair, Boris Johnson, and all these other cunts that get you to be fucking idiots, they're not going to fucking admit it. But it's there, and it is there. I can walk down the street tomorrow carrying a bow and arrow set, and you know what? The law can't touch me. The law can't touch me because it's in the fucking Constitution. But you're right, girl. Let's not even go there because this is like a bigger subject than we've got.
All right, just tell me the air hostess story and then we'll move on to the next thing.
Well, the air hostess story is basically pretty simple. After Phil McConnell started selling Zims and advocating Zims to everybody in the fucking entire universe, go and buy Zims, go and buy fucking Iraqi dollars, I'm going to myself, what the fuck? No, dude, the whole Federal Reserve System, Bitcoin, reset, Klaus Schwab, fuck off. It's all about them controlling you. And I says, Phil, I got kicked out of camp. So anyway, this air hostess was texting me 2-3 times a night saying, hey, Gobby, I've got this amount of fucking wages left. Do I buy Zims or what do I buy? And I'm going, no, don't buy anything. Just like keep your money and just do what you're doing to live,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like, anyway, I did buy some gold once when I lived in California for 5 years and I was earning enough to save a bit. And I bought some gold and it did rise in price, but I cashed it out too soon. And then I got offered Bitcoin in 2008 or 9 for about $53 per coin. And
Angela,
do it.
Again, this is a true story that I can bring witnesses to. I could have bought Bitcoin at 85 cents. Okay, I could have, but I didn't. Do you know why I didn't? Because the minute electricity stops, Bitcoin
It's
is
gone.
possible.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I do understand that,
Yeah.
but it's still, you know, it's still. I want to be a little bit prepared for what's coming down the track, and even here already.
You
In
already
terms,
are. Listen, you live in Ireland. You can grow potatoes. You can go to the coast. You can get shellfish. You can get prawns. You can get lobsters. You can get crabs. You throw a rod into the sea. You'll feed yourself. You don't need fucking Asda's. You don't need fucking Tesco's. You're already well prepared. Yeah, cabbages, beetroots, tomatoes, dude. The Irish survived a potato famine, but actually they didn't because that was orchestrated by the state too. The
Yeah,
poison fucking potato. Yeah, exactly. Get them to fucking to America so they can go build fucking railroads. And hey, if they're really clever, we can make them into Shire Reefs and fucking New York City and Tapanani and fucking what's the gang in New York? Well, that's the Irish. Really fucking useful because they're clever cunts, but they do as they're told really well. Do you know the word boycott comes from the whole fucking situation? Captain Boycott. Again, sorry guys, but you really need to know the history of this. These people have been fucking you up the ass since 1642.
I know, but the sad thing is that I've observed. I moved back to Ireland. Like my dad left when he was 19, and he didn't come back till he was 53. Although we came every summer for holidays, but I moved back in 1996, and I've noticed a shocking change is that since the Celtic Tiger boom in the first half of the 2000s, all the people in leadership in Ireland, after the Irish were renowned for rebelling against invasion and 800 years of occupation and you know, having their own language and being proud, when they got money, they just tried to be like the British and the globalists. They just started getting all giddy, having helicopters and trying to dress like not the Irish, they lost their identity and they became something they weren't. And it's like, who are you? What happened to your identity? Why do you think that if you get some money, you have to learn how to look like the other elites? Do you know what I mean? It's an inferiority complex.
The whole Irish thing, it started off with, do you remember the guy, the DeLorean, John DeLorean, and his factory?
Oh, yeah, the sports cars, yeah.
That's the one, that was back in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, after that, the American government, they just thought, hey, the Irish are stupid. Let's fucking give them a shed load of money. What are they going to do? Spend it on crap, which they did.
And then Dennis O'Brien. Dennis O'Brien worked really closely with the Clintons and Haiti and telephone.
Angela, if you give me the opportunity, I was just going to say, do you know where the Clintons are lately?
Well, I know they came with a plane full of cash and put it into Allied Irish Bank. Millions they came and deposited in cash.
You know what, Angela? Again, you see, God is good to me because once upon a time, I was painting a BY store, which had 5 tracks and the fucking tape 24 hours a day, which did our heads in. But we were painting a BY store. But anyway, in the hotel, he was a whole bunch of fucking Irish idiots that arrived. There was like 20 of them. They were like on a fucking gangbang expedition because one of them was going to get married. And they all worked for the only Irish bank in Ireland, the only Irish bank in Ireland. And me and him, we as you do, we got into some serious fucking whiskey drinking and talking bollocks. And they explained a whole bunch of shit to me. But the Clintons currently, right? Swansea is twin with Wuhan. You know Wuhan, the fucking the fucking pandemic. And guess who's on the board of Swansea University?
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
Hillary Clinton.
She sold out Ireland. They've all gone to Wales. You know why? Because Welsh used to make fucking Sony TV. Now they're making fucking chips for the 5G.
Wow.
Because
she's on the head of a law degree in Swansea. Yeah. And also they've set up a trolling academy in Swansea.
Yeah.
a troll. They teach people
Yeah, they teach people how to fuck people
how
up
to
on the
troll.
internet. Yeah.
And I've been noticing they've culled a lot of survivors, and they've lured them into sort of Wicca and watered down Satanism and this, that, and the other. And then they teach them to go and train how to report people. And they literally write, you need to report this to safeguarding, you need to report that to social welfare, you need to report that to TUSLA or social services, you need to report this. They teach them, it's almost like,
Pavlovian rats.
in Germany, where everybody...
Angela, Pavlovian fucking rats. That's what it is. That's
Pavlovian.
where it comes from. That's what it fucking is.
And it's horrifying to see survivors turning on each other.
The Welsh went underground to dig the coal that fucking steamed the fucking ships that made the empire. The Welsh fucking dug the coal that powered the engines to go and blow up every motherfucker across the face of the earth. Woohoo! We're the British Empire. And guess who wins? Elizabeth Mountbatten, Saxe Goldberg, whatever. Take your pick of her names, but that's the fact of that. Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton as well. She was visiting Kildare.
Yeah.
And she was working closely with the Catholic Church and visiting orphanages.
Mountbatten was the biggest drug smuggler on the face of planet Earth via Her Majesty's Yacht Britannia. It didn't get searched by customs and excess anywhere.
East India Tea Company.
Same thing. Girl, and that's why Mountbatten. Well, some people say Mountbatten got blown up because he had a couple of 11-year-old boys with him. Again, have you heard of a guy called Willie, a Scottish MP that got blown up? He shot himself twice in the head and threw the gun 50 yards after he'd driven his car off. Willie McRae, 1974. He was Lord Louis Mountbatten's Batman. He was like his personal slave in India. And that's why he got killed. But don't go and Google it. But although there's a whole bunch of documentaries about it on the BBC TV, but don't go and Google it because it doesn't really matter.
There's somebody fighting to get access to Lord Mountbatten's letters. And this is connected to Wales as well, because they paid millions to bring them to Wales. And then it might be Wales or it might be Southampton. Anyway, whichever council has them is refusing to give access to them because there's too much.
Do you know who Lord Mountbatten's bastard child was? The most famous one. Peter
Tell
Sellers.
me.
Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers.
Oh, now he's another one I had an aversion to. Everybody loved the Pink Panther, and I just had a little radar going off. Oh, something's not right. Something's not right.
That was Mountbatten's bastard. Same as Jimmy Savile was another royal bastard. He used to call his mother the Duchess. Do the maths on that one, guy. Jimmy Savile used to accost Diana Dors when she was fucking 15, 16 on a bike.
Wow.
Go and Google that. Dude, that's on the internet. I'm not making it up.
No, Diana Dors, for a while, was she a madam? She was into some fairly dark party.
Angela. All I'm going to say is I don't know if she was a madam or I don't know if she was a survivor, because survivors have gone to some extreme fucking lengths to preserve their old selves. Yeah. And they've never ever sold their soul to the dark side. They're just doing it because they fear for their life.
This is why a lot of prostitutes don't like to be called prostitutes, because what they are is survivors trying to make it. Make it working girls.
It's the same thing, yeah. You don't listen. God says in the Bible, "Judge not lest you be judged." So don't be judged, okay? And unless you know the true story, but the thing about Diana Dors, Peter Sellers, Len Fairclough on Coronation Street, right the way fucking through the whole. If you don't see the fucking links, then you never will. So guys, go out there, start researching, start reading, start studying, because they're all interlinked. Jimmy Savile, Martha. Sorry, Martha. Angela. I'm used to talking to Area 51. Angela, the second. Look at the body that was left outside Jimmy Savile's flat by the Yorkshire Ripper. Jimmy Savile was half the Yorkshire Ripper.
I do believe that. I do believe that.
There you go.
Thank you. But I saw quite a convincing theory once that he was actually a child of Dennis Thatcher. There's an incredible.
No.
Okay, that was a red herring.
Yeah, his mother was a Dennis Thatcher couldn't wank off into a fishbowl.
Careful now. Let's keep this. Let's keep
Oh,
this
sorry.
YouTube friendly.
Yeah, oh, forgive me.
No.
God forgive me. That's not a libelous accusation. Mark Thatcher, good luck on your failed attempt to go over an African country because Mammy fucking blew up the Belgrano.
Okay, okay. So who do you think is Jimmy Savile's father?
I can't comment on that right here, right now.
Okay, all right, okay. I don't want to get you in trouble. And
I'm already in trouble.
so am I.
Edward Heath's boat used to come and park in my village. Him and his
Yeah.
fucking paedophile buddies used to come and. Anyway, do you remember the whole Shetland child abuse? That didn't happen either. No, they wouldn't talk about that.
Yeah, they love their islands and their remote areas, don't they?
No
Yeah.
TV, no telephones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a telephone box in the middle of the village. It was the lights was filled with earwigs, and every time you went into it, earwigs would fall down into your hair. So it didn't look like a telephone
And let me
box.
just, we're going over sort of, the things are changing so much every day. But so you think you think the real Greg Hallett was murdered? That you're talking about the King of England?
Completely not. No. He was never the King of England.
Okay. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, but the original Greg Hallett. Have you heard of Professor George Lees?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Professor George Lees will tell you the truth about Greg Hallett. Greg Hallett, original one, is not the one that is there today.
Yeah, I heard there was a switch out. Yeah, I did hear that.
He's just like the fucking Muppet Show reincarnation of Kermit Part 2.
And so is it the second pretend Greg Hallett? He's the one that tried to steal the story from the guy, was it in Portugal, the guy that really did have the bloodline?
Yeah, the original born bastard of what's his name? The butcher, bloody hell. Anyway. Listen, the fact of the matter is Victoria had a baby when she was 14. Cancel that. Why? Because the Rothschilds had a sex dream nine times, which they did, and that's the Bank Melon. That's why the whole Canary Wharf is called Canary Wharf. I know that doesn't make sense, but it does in levels with the Satanic people. LOL, ha 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 ha. And that's when they killed the guys on 7/7 that came to tell the truth to the newspapers. They shot the four of them. Yeah, they shot them. Dude, there are people texting out their office saying, "Hey, we just saw 4 guys killed." No, that text couldn't go nowhere.
Right. Okay.
Story.
Okay. So you think the real Greg Hallett was murdered? The real Greg Hallett.
I don't know if he was murdered. He's not the same Greg Hallett.
He switched out. They switched him out. Okay.
Angela, listen. Do you know why I can say that categorically? Because when I was in Milton Keynes, the guy that Greg Hallett was living with, he came up and spoke to me. I could have gone to visit Greg Hallett that night, the next day. I've got an open invitation to go and visit Greg Hallett. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to do it. Why? Because it's going to compromise me, because I don't believe it.
Yeah, well, his family fairly comprehensively discredited him, saying he's lying. Now, this might be
but Angela, the thing is, he's not lying about the Puritans in South America, wherever it was, New Zealand. Yeah, he's not lying about that. He's not lying about the 4 Puritans. He's not lying about Jacinda Ardern. He's not lying about the corruption. He's not lying about the people.
Okay, so he had a lot of truth. He had a lot of truth, so he got switched out.
But that's what, Angela, is that not what the state apparatchiks do? Hey, I'm David Icke. I'm on Logan. Here's a whole bunch of truth. And you know what I'm saying, yeah? They push out Alex Jones. Here's 90% truth, but here's 10% bullshit, and you're going to buy the bullshit. You're going to buy like fucking safe water, you're going to buy ammo, you're going to buy fucking storage, you're going to buy fucking kits, you're going to buy machine guns.
Yeah, and then they've just got to get compromised. Yeah. Like Alex Jones is just the shadow of what he used to be. Is just a joke. His dad is so compromised.
His dad was a 30-degree Mason. Alex Jones, no, show.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And right, it's a stupid question, but I'll ask it anyway. And there is a way to ask this. Are you a master Mason?
I'm more than a master mason. I know the degrees above the degrees that even the degrees don't know. Royal Arch, Royal York, trust me. You know what, Angela? Let me tell you a story, right? I was 16 and a half, right? I'm from the Outer Hebrides, a little town called Stornoway. I'm a carpet fitter. The boss says, right, listen, guys, you've got to go and fit a carpet in the Masonic Lodge. It's just like 2 streets along. But the guy that ran our shop, he had a saddle because he had been part of the Chisholm, you know, the Chisholm Trail in America. Doolin, Dalton. Yeah. He'd been there, made his money, come home and started 3 like luxury fucking furniture and carpet shops and shit like that. So anyway, we go to the Masonic Hall. We've got this room, it's called the Tyler room, the initiation room. It's like 20 foot by 10 foot. It took us 3 days. It should have taken us 20 minutes, but yeah, we had access to the library. So we were sitting there reading the books and just banging the hammer on the floor occasionally. So that's what I learned about the Masons.
So, but you're not a Freemason. You just know a lot.
I know a lot. I'm not one. My uncle was one. Most of my uncles were one. My grandfather was probably one, but I'm not.
Because I think George Lee's is. I think George Lee's is.
You better believe it. I was blackballed. I was invited. I was invited to a lodge by the guy. I was invited to the lodge by my next door neighbor who was in Highlander. Do you remember the movie Highlander? Who was? Anyway, I was invited to the Inverness Lodge. I met Russell Johnson. I was there in a white tie and bowtails. I worked for the Highland News Group, which I did 4 promotions in a month, 2 company cars. I was rubbing shoulders with the big knobs, but guess what? I didn't sing their tune.
No, and that's probably a good thing. We've probably been spared a few.
Because I was just a drunk, inconsistent Scottish cunt that says I ain't fucking buying anything you're selling me.
Yeah.
I believe in what I believe in, and it ain't what you're fucking selling me.
And I heard recently that I don't know how true it is, but it sounded plausible. There's a guy that's sort of a UFO. I'm not into that stuff. There's a guy that's a UFO guy, and he says that he and Simon Parkes were offered a job with the CIA with $250,000 a year each. And he said he declined, but Simon Parkes said, yes, please, and went ahead.
Well, of course, Simon Parkes obviously wants to go on lots of sex with fucking alien women.
And not just alien women, apparently, or allegedly.
Oh.
There's plenty of women that have felt very violated, even if you call it on the astral, you know.
I don't doubt that. Listen, Angela, can I tell you a story about UFOs? And I just told this story last night to somebody that I really love. I've seen 3 UFOs in my life. Once when I was 5, once when I was 13, and once a few times later. The second one is the most important one. I was standing on a road between 2 lochs, right? Flat horizon to the fucking east, flat horizon to the west. I saw this fucking silver thing flying across. It took 22 seconds. The Blackbird SR fucking 71 couldn't do that. And do you know how I knew that? Because my dad was a radar operator.
Yeah.
Guided by Watson Watt. He'd come to the Stornoway, the Outer Hebrides in 1959. He'd met my mother who worked in the Nappies. She was a fucking awesome cook.
Language.
Sorry. YouTube. We like YouTube so much. We actually fucking think we
language.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So long story short, my dad was a radar operator. He had a choice. Go to Hong Kong, go to Stornoway. He came to Stornoway. He met my mother. Anyway, he was a radar operator in 1950s. Sorry, in 19-something-6. He was sitting with his mate at a screen, 2 screens, going bleep, 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 bleep. And all of a sudden, this thing happened. It arrived at 3,000 miles plus. It stopped 150 feet above the top of the ocean. They thought, what? It's the Russians. They scrambled jets from Lossiemouth. The jets from Lossiemouth didn't even get halfway there at supersonic speed before this thing just like shot up, like supersonic speed straight back up into the sky. So
yeah,
that's all. Angela, I shit you not. I'm not lying to you, girl. I wouldn't make this shit up.
No, I believe you. I believe you. it's not a field I want to go into. Like somebody once said to me a few years ago.
Yeah, but
where-
Angela,
let me finish.
ask
Let me
me.
finish.
Yes,
It's like-
yeah, sorry,
let me
continue.
just finish.
You're right.
I remember someone saying to me, where, what's your position on flat earth? And I said, I don't care, because it's like, it's not figuring for me. I'm not lying awake at night, trying to figure that out. I'd be trying to figure other things out. But I am a student and a scholar of the Bible, and I have been since
Amen.
1990.
Amen. Ezekiel went to heaven in a fiery chariot. Now there's a
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
I know there's been time travel in the Bible. You'd get translated from one place to another or whatever. I know. And I also was warned that one of the deceptions in the last days would be the alien deception.
Yeah.
And I also
completely.
know, let me just finish,
Yes, dear.
the Freemasons and Luciferians, whatever you want to call it, are great students of the Bible, and particularly the book of Revelation and Daniel and Joel. They study end times, and it seems to me they try and imitate end time prophecies to make it their own.
Angela, the Bible is the only book of shit that they've got to go on. They need to destroy and take down the 2 golden arches. They need you to believe that this is going to happen. World War IV, Sticks and Stones, Alistair Pike, Alistair Crowley, because that's the shit that they've been written 400 years ago. Unfortunately, it's not God's plan. Okay.
Yeah.
The alien thing, here's what I am on aliens. Okay. I've seen shit that I can't explain, but until some big slimy grey thing comes up and sticks a big, huge, shiny silver stick up my ass, I'm going to go, no. Carry on.
I've been looking a lot at because I do see in the Bible about the Nephilim, the fallen angels, and came down, mated with women.
Listen, Angela, it's not even in the Bible, it's in the Quran too. I wish you cunts would.
I know, and I have a great heart. I studied, I dated 2 or 3 Muslims in my 20s, and I studied the Quran. Well, I can't really say I studied it, but I was around Muslims for a while, and I have a real heart. I have a real heart for when Abraham was told by his wife, I need you to cast out my servant girl and Ishmael. I need you to get them to exile because it's upsetting me. And it broke Abraham's heart because Ishmael was still his flesh and blood, even though he'd gone ahead with the servant woman, the bondwoman, and conceived her. But when he said to Haggai and Ishmael, you have to go, he cried out to God and he said, will you promise me this? Don't forget them in my inheritance. And God made a promise. And Ishmael was the head of the Arabs, the founding of the Arab nations, and was referred to as an angry young man. And God said, I won't forget them in the last days. I won't forget them. I know you love your son, and I know it's hurting you to cast him out. So I find that the Muslim, even though there's theories that the Vatican created Islam and
of course.
But I do find that they will come back to not just the bosom of Abraham, but to the full knowledge of Yeshua, not as the Mahdi, but as really Jesus,
No.
But
what you're saying about Abraham is the father of all religions.
Yeah, a father of all nations. I know that, including the Arab nations and the Jewish nation. Yeah.
Oh, for the love of God. Right, women. Here we go. This is something so simple. I would just like to do it Johnny Ball style and more. Read in the name of your Lord that created. Read, and your Lord teaches by means of the pen, teaches man that which he knew not. That's 19 words, okay? The second verse revealed Surah 68, Al-Khalam, the pen. Go read that shit in the order it was revealed. A whole new world opens up. And it ties in with the fucking King James Bible, 1611, dude. They took about 9 chapters out of the 1642 version. The 911 one is the one that they all swear they're fucking oath to because they're bar registered members and they're Satanists and a whole bunch of. So,
they're trying to hijack it. But the thing I wanted to ask you, and I know that many books were taken out. I have studied this a lot. It's been a passion. But the thing I wanted to ask you, right? So let me finish, even though I might frustrate you. The thing I wanted to ask you is if the Nephilim did, if fallen angels came and forcibly mated with women and
made giants in the land of
yeah,
the
and then there was the flood, but then they reappeared, and it does say in the Bible that the fallen angels were locked up by God until the last days. So wait a minute. Do you give any credibility to the theory that they're in Antarctica and they will be released soon?
No, I don't, because basically what happened when the Jews got taken by the rivers of Babylon.
I love that song.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, they took the Jews back to Babylon, and God released two angels called Harut and Marut. Okay, don't go fucking googling them or do any satanic shit with them by Alistair Crowley, and just don't be involved in any of that, guys, because it's real, it's true, and you just don't actually bang money. Anyway, Harut and Marut came and they taught the Israelis how to be fucking stupid, and that's what's happened today. Okay,
careful, keep it YouTube friendly.
Yes, they are. Sorry, when I say the Israelis, I'm talking about every single Jew across the face of the earth. And you know what, Angela? I'm a Jew. I am a child of Israel. I am a child of Israel.
Yeah, we're Israelites. We are Israelites.
Yeah.
Without being Jewish.
That's what the word Pax Britannicus means, the keepers of the covenant. We are the keepers of the covenant, not these bunch of fucking Ashkenazi fucking dickwads.
Okay.
To the UN,
I just want to keep YouTube have been good to me. They took down my main channel. It was getting too powerful, but this one is okay. So I'm going to keep it okay.
This is what happens every time I open my mouth, because I tell too much truth. And
I know, and I have too, and I still do, but I've learned a little bit just not to personalize the rage,
There's no
because
rage.
No, I know, but when we say things
dude, I'm a child of Israel. I am more of a child, dude. I'm more of a child of Israel than Benjamin Netanyahu. Hello.
I know. And probably
we are the innocents. We're not the ones who want to go and capitalize and kill people for gold.
I know.
That's not us.
It's heartbreaking what's going on.
We're the people of the covenant. 1603. Listen, James first created the word Britannicus on the 1603 coin. Okay, Pax Britannicus, the keepers of the covenant. We are the keepers of the covenant. And you see, the thing is, you know what? Again, Angela, there are I could introduce you to 20,000 people tonight that believe that Edinburgh was Jerusalem and that Arthur. Anyway, you get me? Because all of history is a lie, and it is. We've all been led to believe, it happened over in some sandy faraway affair. Very well, blow them up, their islands.
Well, I try and keep it simple, and we'll finish this one for now. But there's two things I want to just end with from scripture. And one is where I'm at the moment, because the more you find out, you realize the less you know. So where I'm at the moment is like Job. I just know my Redeemer lives. His name is Yeshua. He's Jesus, he's the Son of God. And the second thing I wanted to say, whether we don't need to argue about, Arab or Jew or Christian, but let me finish with this last one. I do believe that the scripture that says, no one comes, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, says Jesus. Nobody comes to the Father except through me. And I do believe that. So it doesn't matter what your DNA is or your history, heritage, whatever is. There's only one way back to the Creator Father, which I believe is Jesus. And that could get me. That could impact my YouTube channel more than any F's and blinding that you did.
I do not disagree with anything that you say, but I would like to point this out to anybody out there that's got a brain and a mind to search, look, and Google. Do you remember the story of Jonah, the guy that got eaten by the fish?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine this, right? In the Mediterranean, at certain times of the year, there are 3 stars that disappear before the horizon, because everything goes south and the stars disappear. that is what's known as Jonah being in the belly of the whale. So if you guys can actually go with, wait a minute, the guy wasn't figured to be eaten by a whale. It's just that they were lost and they thought, we're going to throw this guy over the side, and he got washed ashore and went to Nineveh. Okay, so that explains the whole Moby Dick, and you know,
I love Moby Dick. I love Moby Dick.
No, but everybody wants to see miracles.
But the thing that impressed, because I went to university to do English and theatre, and then I got persuaded to drop theatre and do American literature as my second subject. And of course, Moby Dick was one of them. But I wrote a whole essay.
Angela, can I just mess your head up completely and absolutely? Do you know the guy that wrote Moby Dick? He was the guy that signed
Herman Melville.
He was the guy that signed the death warrant for Bully the Kid.
Oh no, that's fine. I know, because like loads of people turn out to be Freemasons and not Christians and all that. I know history is a lie. But the thing that impressed me, and for me, it encapsulated a lot of what is in the American psyche, was the deckhand. I think his name was Pip, fell overboard, and he was lost at sea for about 10 days. And by some miracle, they were able to rescue him. Now, bear in mind, this is a novel. But when he was so traumatized by being lost at sea and the vastness of it, that when they rescued him, he never spoke again. He was mute for the rest of his life. And that just, that to me is the ultimate picture of alienation, that if we lose our bearings and there's nothing to see and you don't know if you're ever going to get rescued, it can render you mute. It can snap the mind, you know. I love that.
To me.
And then Jonah, when I was at a Jesuit influenced convent school in Bath, we did a musical called the Jonah Man Jazz, and I was Jonah in that, and it was fabulous. It was a jazz musical, and if I hadn't lost my voice, I would sing it to finish up this. Look, maybe next time. Yeah, I used to sing jazz and blues in London. Yeah, I loved it, and in Spain.
Oh, dude.
And in Spain.
Well, you're right. Let's just save this for the next show. But
yeah, okay, we'll do this again.
Going back to okay.
Go on. You finish up. Go on. Don't let me jump. Go ahead.
Jonah got sent to a town called Nineveh. Nineveh is in northern Iraq, and George Bush is blowing that shit up. So anyway, you're right. Moving swiftly onwards, to take this back to today, nothing is as it seems. Don't believe anything you read. Please go and learn and research for yourself. It's like I used to say in Able Danger, don't believe a word that I tell you.
Yeah.
Go and Google it for yourself.
But at some point,
tell me I'm wrong. Yeah.
But at some point, you can be so full of knowledge that your head's going to explode. And I think we also have to just start trusting the Holy Spirit as well, more and more. You know, because if I'd listened, I'm just looking back, I'm not having regrets, but I had red flags with many, many people. I think almost every adult sent into my life was sent in some way. And I had red flags and I ignored them. So I think as well as gaining more knowledge, people need to get closer to God and you know, listen to the Holy Spirit within. All right, listen, it was great, Gordon. We'll do this again.
Yeah, and next time, can we talk about Oakstead? Because I used to live in the Finchley Hotel, like 250 yards away from Vanessa Phelps.
Oh my goodness! Please, let's talk about Hampstead next time.
I used to drink in the cafes with like a whole bunch of famous people.
Okay.
West End Lane.
Okay.
So, Angela, as always, it's been an absolute delight and a pleasure. And girl, you're doing a good job, inshallah, which means God willing.
I know what it means, inshallah.
Do you know what's even scarier than that, right? Gaelic is older than Arabic, and I can, anyway, a Gaelic door, I can be. Women, delight and a pleasure as always. Go with him. Peace be.
All right. God bless. Talk to you soon. Darling.